Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Coronavirus in the Independent Retailer, episode 29. I'm your host, Bob Nagan, and I just want to say congratulations to you. Congratulations. We are all one day closer to the end of this thing. Nobody knows when this end of this thing is, but we are one day closer, and that in itself is a cause for celebration. So today we're going to explore a shift from crisis mentality to opportunity mentality. But before we go there, I just really, oh my gosh, I want to give my deepest condolences to Andrea Monroe. On Whizbang Retailers this morning, I put a little check in. Hey, how's everybody feeling? And Andrea indicated that in her town there was a mass shooting, and many of her customers were victims, and it just really is an unspeakable tragedy in the middle of an unspeakable tragedy. So I would encourage you, if you are a member of Whizbang Retailers, I would just really love to encourage you to go to that thread. It's an announcement today, and show Andrea a little love, because God, it's got to be just difficult. So, all right, having said that, excuse me, let's get on to crisis mentality to opportunity mentality. And this is such an important shift. Remember what we're trying to do. We as a community, me as the person who's doing this podcast and hopefully leading the way that you're thinking, we're trying to move forward now. We were trying to survive. Now we're moving into, opening back up, thriving. What are we going to look like in the future? And so while I was exploring this and researching this, the first thing I did was I looked at definitions. And there's two definitions of crisis that I think are very important. And one was a time of intense difficulty, trouble, or danger. I think we can all agree that the last 5 or 6 weeks, or for different time frames for different people, have been a time of intense difficulty, trouble, or danger. And when you're in a crisis mode, when you're in that crisis mentality, it's hard to make good decisions. Everything seems oppressive. Everything seems bigger than it is. There's an old saying that if you're lost in the woods, don't panic, stop, and get your wits about you. This is why we always keep coming back to the assess, adjust, advance mindset, because it's stop, figure out where you are in this crisis, and figure out where you're trying to go. So let's just all recognize that we've been there. It hasn't been pleasant. It hasn't been good. But it's not a question of whether you're in a crisis. It's whether you're going to get out of the crisis, and in what style you're going to get out of the crisis, and what you're going to be and do when the crisis is over, which leads to the second definition. And the second definition is, and I love this, the turning point of a disease when an important change takes place, indicating either recovery or death. I like that word disease in there, because this is really where a disease has caused this whole crisis. But, there's that place where the fever breaks, where the change happens, where you turn the corner. And I think that's where most of us are. I know that, I'm going to go back and always say that everyone here, myself, Susan, Joe, Sam, everyone has the right to melt down, to have a bad day, to crawl into the corner and eat bonbons. Everybody. I mean, this pandemic is difficult. It's bullshit. I've said that before. But it's not a question of whether you crawl into the closet with a bottle of wine and a box of bonbons. The question is when you're done with your good cry, do you get out of the closet, put away the bottle of wine, you know, wipe the chocolate off your face and get moving again. So that's really where we are. Are you going to lay down or are you going to get up? Are you going to give up? Lay down or get going? Are you going to give up or get going? And it's not going back. Right now the question is where are you going to go? And I hope that what you're saying is now is the time to step up. Now is the time to say, okay, I'm going to have a couple steps back every once in a while, but all in all, my mentality is if I take 2 steps back, by God, I'm going to take 3 steps forward. If I take 1 step back, I'm going to take 5 steps forward. So we're not worried about living in the crisis. Now we're looking at how are we going to get out of the crisis. And, if you've been watching this podcast, you know that I've been sharing backpacking metaphor a lot. And the backpacking metaphor has been very, very helpful to me in my life, in my professional life, while I've gone through crises in my professional life. And the whole thing is, when you're backpacking, if you go on a real backpacking trip, not, an overnighter, but, week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, you go on a real trip, you're going to get stuck in some really, really bad weather. And it's miserable. But what you're trying to do is embrace the suck. Just put 1 foot in front of the other, 1 foot in front of the other, 1 foot in front of the other, and with the goal being the trailhead, because the trailhead represents a cold beer, a hot shower, and a warm bed, right? So you just boom, 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 boom. But one of the things that I learned, doing a lot of backpacking, walking through lots and lots of storms, is the most beautiful times I've ever experienced backpacking was coming out of the storms, right? So you've been walking, it's been raining for 3 straight days and you got blisters and you're miserable and you're soaked and you're freezing. And then all of a sudden, you see it all start to loosen up and the sky gets lighter. And that's generally when you see a rainbow. And it's like you're emerging from the bullshit and you're emerging into something beautiful. And I like that even better than walking out. I've walked out in a rainstorm, thrown my pack into a car in the pouring rain and gone away. That's not nearly as good as watching it go away. And that's really what I'm sensing from this community. We're all starting to look for opportunities. So we're emerging from crisis mode and we're moving into opportunity mode. And I just really want to share with you that there are so many opportunities right now. And what I'm encouraging you to do is to really, really start to pay attention. So have an awareness. Start to really, really look for the opportunities. I'm just going to share a couple with you right now that I just thought of off the top of my head this morning. So awareness, so there's 3 steps here. 3 steps in this building the opportunity mode, your awareness. First of all, there's awareness. And awareness is opening your frame of reference, right? For the last 6 weeks, we've been focused on survival. We've been focused on PPP or government. We've been focused on, what can I do to stay alive? Now we're in opportunity mode, and the first step is awareness, and that is widening your filter, paying attention to where the opportunities are. Here's a couple of different opportunities just to sort of whet your appetite for it. First of all, buying lists. If you are a women's clothing store, and another women's clothing store that has the same sort of style as you goes out of business because of this pandemic, they probably have a customer list. And believe me, that customer list is valuable to you. So you're always looking for stores in your industry or very similar industries that aren't going to make it, and you look to buy their lists. Now, what can you do with their lists? You can send their list an email and say, hey, I would just like to have an opportunity to serve you. Or another idea is to go to the owner of that store that is going and say, look, I know you're a good person. You're a good independent retailer. You don't want your customers to be left high and dry. Why don't we do this? Why don't you, not you, the store owner, you, the person who is going out of business, send a letter with a gift certificate to my store telling your customers that you really want them to be taken care of and that you know that I'll do a good job taking care of them. So when your customers come into my store or shop online at my store, not only will your customers find a new good home for them to shop for their clothes, but I'll give you 20% of all of the sales generated by that gift certificate. You see, so you've incentivized the person who is going out of business to endorse you to their customers. This is just an example of an opportunity. In the Platinum Mastermind group, we did this same thing. And, somebody was going out of business. They bought the entire point of sale system. And the question was, how are you going to look at it? Well, let's look at their best customers. Let's look at recency, who's been in most recently. So when you get all that data, that is a tremendous opportunity for you to get market share, to acquire new customers in the lifetime value. Buying merchandise. Be smart right now. You don't want to take advantage of your vendors, but you do want to make sure that you find the opportunities. The market is going to be flooded with goods. Where are the opportunities? Again, we're moving from this thing is happening to, okay, in every crisis, there's an opportunity. And I, meaning you, are smart enough, wise enough, good enough. You're going to take advantage of those opportunities. Hiring great people. We talked about that yesterday. Unemployment is probably going to be at an all-time record high by the time this is said and done. There are great people who will be your next superstars who are looking for you. You just need to go out and find them. So these are all opportunities. Oh, there's one that I just thought of that I wanted to make sure that you remembered, that it didn't fly by. And I don't know who suggested this. And if you wouldn't, if it was your suggestion, please, email me, bob.nagan@whizbangtraining.com. I'd like to send you a mug or some chocolates or something like that for like the brilliant idea. I love a brilliant idea. And it's the idea of having a Facebook page that is your outlet store. So this is where you put your clearance items. You can buy into this. This is a real opportunity. Again, the market is going, the merchandise, pipelines are screwed up. There's going to be all sorts of opportunities. If you can get rid of your old stuff and bring in new stuff at a deep discount and still sell at a great price on your outlet page, it's just a wonderful opportunity, So, the second stage, the first stage is just to be aware that it's opportunities and be proactive and committed to taking advantage of the opportunities. The second is you want to nurture your opportunity mindset. And James Altucher is somebody who I follow. I love the way he thinks. But he has an exercise where every day for the last God knows how many years, he has written 10 ideas. And what he calls it is he says he's exercising his idea muscle. And I don't do it every day, but I probably do it one every 10 days. And it's amazing when you start really thinking about it and just writing down ideas, how it tunes you into finding ideas. It's your reticular activator in play. So we all have this mechanism in our brain called the reticular activator. And it's what allows us to sort through the billions, literally billions of physical stimuli that are coming into your brain every day, right? So if you're in a gymnasium, you don't see the exit sign with the red exit sign, but I'll tell you what, if somebody yells fire and the gym fills up with smoke, you find that sign right away. Your reticular activator knew it was there. It just was filtering it out because it wasn't important. I'll share one other story. So when Joe was first born, we decided we need to get a minivan. Right? We're a family now. And so Susan thought we wanted a Honda minivan. And everywhere we drove around, we'd see a Honda Odyssey minivan. And it's like, oh, there's a blue one going down the highway the wrong way. Hey, there's a red one. Our reticular activator was interested in Honda Odyssey minivans. We saw them everywhere. We went to the Honda dealership. I didn't fit into Honda Odyssey. So we went and took a test drive in a Toyota Sienna. Guess what? I didn't see any more Honda Odysseys, but I saw a whole lot of Toyota Siennas. That's what the reticular activation system does. It brings to your attention what is important to you at that moment. And when you start proactively thinking about, nurturing this search for opportunities, you will see a lot more opportunities. So I would encourage you, if you're journaling, which I hope you are, or even if you're not, just have a piece of paper and pad and start thinking about where are the opportunities? Where are the opportunities? Where are the opportunities? And then finally, there's action. The third part of this opportunity mindset is action. So you have a great idea. You see that store that's going out of business in your town or the town next door. It has to be more than, oh, that was a really good idea Bob shared on his podcast one day. It has to be pick up the phone and say, wow, I'm really sorry that you've decided to close your store, but let's talk about how I can help your customers, how I can help you, let's get together for a cup of coffee and discuss this. Because having an idea about an opportunity and taking advantage of the opportunity are different things. And now that we are moving out of the sheer terror phase, and now that we're moving into the opportunity phase, it's important for you to really, really get into that take action mode. And it becomes really important, too, that you use that assess, adjust, advance mindset regularly in your business. If you see a new opportunity, assess, is this really a good opportunity for me? If it is, what is the adjustment? What do you have to do to take advantage of it to move forward? So, the final thing that I want to say about this is 2 or 3 weeks ago, we talked about the importance of a vision. Having a vision for your business and your life. And I hope that some of you went and built a vision. If you have the master plan advantage, we talked about the retail accountability blueprint yesterday, but part of the master plan advantage is the process of building a vision. But do you see what happened? So the vision isn't gone. The vision of a great business and a great life and a great business that supports a great life is still there. It's still there. Now we're just finding new ways. The first part was to survive. Get out of crisis mode and now get into opportunity mode. So ask yourself, when these opportunities arise, are they going to help me get closer to my vision? And if they are, that means you need to take advantage of them. We're moving into a more positive phase, folks. This is where right now, in these next couple weeks, are going to determine who's going to come out of this as a star and who's going to come out of this limping. You can come out roaring or you can come out whimpering. It's up to you. But the sooner you get out of crisis mode and put yourself firmly into opportunity mode, the better off you're going to be. Okay? All right. So I have a favor to ask. If you liked this, share it. Share it with a friend who's a retailer. Share it with a group of retailers if it's appropriate. Share it with a vendor who is trying to help retailers. We're all in this together. And if you find it helpful, other people will also. So it's Thursday. I hope that you use today to start getting yourself into hardcore, heavy duty, big time opportunity mode. I'm Bob Nagin, and we will see you tomorrow.